Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, and I'm Donald, and today I'm going to give some advices for Sunway Freshies because actually I did a little video about it, but it's in Mandarin, so a lot of people ask me to do another version of it but in English. So today I'm gonna give you a brief introduction to Sunway College, like what do you expect if you are taking a foundation or maybe A-level in Sunway College, and then so let's get it started. Okay, first of all, I'm going to give you a little background of me. I took A-level in Sunway College a few years ago, and then currently I'm studying computer science in Taiwan. And then I need to say that on the internet, like a lot of people made fun of Sunway students, Sunway and Taylor students and Suwang kids, they call it, right? Like you can imagine like some rich kids like wearing like expensive clothes like Off-White and Travis Scott collabs, and then like a lot of streetwear stuff, and then like they'll just party every day but they don't study, right? But I need to say that, at least from my experience, is you can't ignore that a lot of people they are from a more wealthy family than average, but then at least from my experience is like they all work very hard. Like for A-level students, if you don't work hard, it's actually quite useless to take this course, because I think A-level is only suitable for those who are prepared to strive for the academic exams, which is like a bit talented in academic fields. So yeah, for A-level students, it's like we all work really hard, because like you can imagine like after going to class, right? After class ended, it's like almost everyone will go into library or medicine and do revision, or maybe like do practice papers, because the syllabus is quite rushed. I don't know like whether is there any changes after the coronavirus thing, but from my experience a few years ago, it's like because initially like overseas, right, the A-level course is made for 2 years syllabus, which means like you finish the course in 2 years. But for Sunway University, I think that there are either January intake, March intake, or July intake. So for July intake, it's like 1.5. July intake is the you have more time on it, and then like you have 2 years. But then for January and March intake, it's like 1.5 years. So it's like from my understanding, I don't know whether is there any changes or not. And then it's like I recommend if you are thinking of getting A-level in Sunway College, right, I recommend you to take the January intake, because it will be less rushing. The syllabus is like, for January intake, right, you need to participate in AS in a year, which is for like I think it's November and December paper for AS, and then you need to finish A2 in May June paper next year. So which means you have 18 months to go through AS and A-level. But then for March intake, right, it's the same thing. So which means you have 90 days lesser than the people you are competing with. So so I think it's really rushed. Like I'm the January intake one, but I still feel that it's really hard to catch up the syllabus, because imagine that the course is made for 2 years syllabus, and then you need to finish it in 1.5 year. And then if you are going to take the March intake, which means that you have 90 days lesser, which means that you have only 15 months to finish a 24 months course. So I think it's very hard. if you are smart enough, then you can take it. But from my recommendation, I think it's better to get the general intake. And yeah. Secondly, it's like a lot of people ask about the environment in Sunway College. Although Sunway College maybe not like maybe they're not the biggest campus. I've seen a lot of big universities, but then I think that Sunway is quite small, honestly speaking. But from the level of facilities, I think that they're really doing a great job. Like, because Sunway Group is like they're like they started from the property categories, right? So you can see like they're always doing construction around the school, so they're basically upgrading every day. So, and besides that, I think that the Sunway's library is one of the best libraries, at least from what I've seen. Is like they really have good facilities for students. Like we have the football field. I think it's UFA certified or something like that. And yeah, and then like the libraries is very good. The mezzanine, the opening hours is really good. I think they are only closed for 4 to 5 hours. I mean, you can study until like 2 a.m. Like this is from my experience a few years ago. I like if there's any changes, so like I don't know about you, because I mean this is my 3rd year in Taiwan, so it's from my experience, just speaking from my experience. So yeah, I'm really not sure about the major changes in Sunway now. And then it's like they have very good facilities, and the culture over there is very good. For what I've seen in my classmates, they're all like really good in studies, and you can expect like they are not only from rich families, they're super hardworking and they're fucking smart. So it's like, yeah, you can see a lot of like people are wealthier than you and smarter than you. So I think the culture is like it's not like competing between each other, but instead we are helping each other. It's like we are like having fun together, and I really like the vibe, like how we study. Like if you have any difficulties, like your friend will help you to solve the problems as well. And the bond between us is very strong, because I think that like at least for A level, it's like we all stay as a class, which means that you all are divided into different groups from the subjects that you chose. So it's like all your friends are having the same particular subjects that you are choosing. So you are like I think 30 to 40 people in the class. So your lecturers will know you will be very, you are staying with your friends almost every day, like for 5 to 6 hours at least a day. So you all will bond very well. And we are the group that I'm in. I mean WhatsApp group, like occasionally we are still talking to each other, and I think it's amazing that actually like we already had a trip overseas with my Sunway classmates, because like very, very good so between each other. So I think like it's the studying culture over there is very good. The lecturer in A level, they are really responsible and supportive. It's like, because like at least from my experience, A level is not easy. So most probably you will have a lot of questions in class, and then like I mean as a typical Asian student, right, we are shy to ask in class. But then like if you have any questions that you wanted to ask your teachers, lecturers in after school, they're really willing to help. Like you can actually schedule a meeting, or they will assist you in as far as they can. So I think it's very good. It's what it makes me feel like Sunway College is worth it, because as far as you all know, the charge of Sunway College is not cheap. I mean, comparatively it's not cheap, because like from what I know at that time is like, if you are taking A level in other unis or like other college, then the price is like only half. I think it's only around half of what you pay if you are studying in Sunway College. So is it worth it? From my experience, I can tell you that if you have the capabilities to afford it, then it's surely worth it, because the exposure that you get and the friends, it's not really good to say that, but I think the level of friends you made is like a bit different. It's not level of friends, it's like maybe you all will get some very good friends that they have the same thinking as yours, and it's not like friends. Yeah, I think like I've seen a lot of talented people in some way, that what makes me feel worth it. And then apart from the facilities that they give, the teaching resources is very good, and then yeah, the friends that you made is quite important, because actually, I mean, during A level, I think apart of just getting that A level title, right, it's very important to experience college life as well, because I'm from Penang. I'm initially from Penang, so studying in KL is like my first time studying off town, like outside of Penang actually. Yeah, so I believe a lot of people like will get nervous if you're studying alone in out state, right? So at that time I'm really nervous. Actually, that's the main reason why am I making this video, because at that time I wish that like somebody I searched in YouTube actually, like whether is there anyone that made some explanation like what can I expect in some way, like what should I do, what can I expect, and I mean just give me some stuff, right? Like at least I will have not just an imagination, at least some reality behind like what I've seen in their brochures. I mean, in their brochures, it's always different than, I mean, expectations and reality, the difference, like, you know what I mean? I'm just saying about the good part, right? The bad part is that, I mean, it's not the bad part. Actually, I think that my experience in some way is like very good. And then, but I think what should you prepare as a freshies? Yeah, I can say like that. Because like, you all know, like, I'm from Penang Lang, you know, like, getting into KL culture is a bit different than Penang. A lot of difference, yeah, than in Penang. I mean, it's not just, I think it's not just good or bad. I think all experiences is good because you can learn more, and it's all about experience in your life. The thing that I'm going to talk about is like, after getting into KL, your experience, what you can expect to experience as a freshies. First of all, clubbing. Like, is clubbing good or bad? I think there's never an answer to that, because at least I think it's an experience. You cannot say like, damn, that guy, like he went to club every single day, and of course he's a bad guy. I've seen some people, they get like fucking good grades and they club every day, so it's you can't say that, right? So I think like there are really a lot of talented people, like they are party hard and they work hard at the same time. So I think you all need to be more open-minded to these kind of things, because I believe that a lot, like our traditional parents will say that like, no, then those guys that goes to club, they are bad influence. Okay, so but in my opinion, it's like it's not about the fault of the club. It's about yourself. Like if you have your own principles, then I think that as long as it's not illegal, then you should try everything that you can try, because life is all about experiencing. So you can't be like too narrow-minded. Of course, being too open-minded, like if you do drugs and some shit like that, that of course is bad, right? But I mean, like if it's not illegal, then of course you should try it. So yeah, getting friends from all backgrounds is what you should expect, because like maybe some people they are like from other races, speaking other languages. So like you should be prepared to like accept and get to know more people from different varieties of backgrounds. And then yeah, speaking about language, right, you can expect that at least from my life in A-level, during class and in class, we are generally speaking in English, because there are people, I mean, some of our classmates is banana, or maybe he's Indian or Malay. So like in order to have a respect, most of us will speak in English, but there's no rules and principles. Like as long as if you're just speaking one-on-one to a guy that knows how to speak Chinese and you are more comfortable to speak in Chinese, then of course you can speak in Chinese. Like it's just like if there is someone who cannot understand Chinese, so it's better for us to show respect, like at least to don't left him out, right? So I think don't worry about the language. Yeah, so I think a lot of people, like if you are in a Chinese background, like you're worried about them like are not familiar in English, and you'll be like, I'm very scared to speak in English. And I believe a lot of people will have that problem, because if you are speaking, I mean you're studying in a SMJK in throughout your life, and you went to SJKC, I think for sure you have the fear of speaking in English. But I think at least in some way, like for real, nobody will laugh at you, because it doesn't even matter. Like as long as you can explain to each other, like it's all about communications, right? So like we all are not like English teacher or some shit like that. So you for real, you don't need to worry about like your English abilities, because I've known like a lot of Chinese students, they are very afraid of speaking in English, but actually their English abilities is very good, and maybe like you get an A plus in SPM, and then but you are afraid to speak English. And like I know that feel, but for you just don't need to care about it. You just speak, and then slowly you'll be good in it, because it's just about experience. Like if you are speaking English every day, like of course you will get improved throughout 18 months. Like your life, like you're studying English, your lecturer explains to you in English, your classmate talks in English. For you just get used to it, and just don't give a fuck about like nobody will judge you through it. I received some questions about the fees in Sunway College. Actually, it's better to check yourself, but then from my experience, it's around 10k per subject, and for A-level, right, it's like you need to choose at least 3 subjects and at most 5 subjects. I mean, at most 4 subjects. Yeah, I believe the combination is like that. So, like, if you are going to do maths or something like that, I mean, medicals, I think a lot of people like maths is for sure the most important stuff. And bios, I think a lot of people would choose like chemistry or maybe physics. I think chemistry is more suitable for those who are interested in going to medicals. And yeah, so how do you choose your subjects? From experience, just choose the subjects that you are going to do well in, because I mean, yeah, does it matter? Of course it matters at some point, but then I mean it matters. It's important because like if you're going to do engineering, for sure maths is important, right? It doesn't make sense to choose economics, bios and physics, but you are going to engineering. Like it's like at least you need to have some relevant subjects. And then yeah, from what I know in overseas, right, they have like hundreds of subjects that you can do in A level, but then I think at least for Sunway it's just I think around 10 subjects, or maybe less than that. It's just major subjects like physics, maths, economics, accounting, chemistry, and some minor subjects such as thinking skills and something like that. Yeah. So the price, right, I think it's around, if you choose 3 subjects, it's around 30k. And you can see it as like 10,000 per subject. So at least 30,000 and almost 40 something thousand. I believe the cost structure shouldn't be very far from what I paid, because it's just a few years, right? But it's better to check yourself, because I believe that it shouldn't be very far from that price. So, but you need to consider that the living cost and the rental. I think the last part I'm going to talk about is the living costs. Like how much do you need to get per month apart from rental, for sure. It's like how much do you need in a month to survive? You can't say survive. I mean, to averagely spend in Sunway College. I think that if you are not from KL, I mean, you are not staying at home, you are away from home, and least if you are just like me from Penang, or maybe from Johor Bahru, Sabah, Sarawak, and then how much do you need? I think you need at least 1k per month. I mean, it depends on your level of spending, but I'm not saying that you need 1k per month in order to survive. You need 1k per month in order to like get average living conditions. Yeah, you can say like that. Like it includes like your meals in some way, and then maybe you need to pay for what? For sure, like classmates will get into lunch together in pyramid, right? So you get an average 1k or 1 point something. Like for sure, you'll get a pretty good life with those. Like if you are not eating super fancy restaurant every day, then maybe you need like 2k, 3k. But I mean, averagely, I think people spend within 2k per month. So yeah, is the living cost is around there. It's like at least 1k from my experience. And then yeah, and where should we eat in Sunway College? The students' first choice will be Rock Cafe. Like I'm telling you, if you're getting into Sunway, you're eat at Rock for like fucking 60% or maybe 80% of your time you'll get to eat at Rock Cafe. It's like if you heard the name Rock Cafe, it sounds super like fancy. Like maybe you can imagine like super fancy cafe, right? No, it's actually just a food court. Like they will have a lot of stuffs like from char kway teow to like fried rice. The Angusun fried rice is very famous, and I'm not sure whether is he even there. And then like yeah, and there are a few good restaurants. Besides that, it's like I still remember like the black after black is quite famous around students too. I mean, it's not very expensive. It's like within $20 per meal, without drinks of course. And the food you get is like, yeah, it's cafe food, so yeah, you can expect that. And yeah, a lot of pyramids, Nando's, Canton Eye, Dragon Eye. Yeah, it's just like normally you'll get from these places. I think a lot of people they will choose to eat at Rock Cafe. Like I spend quite a lot of my meals in Rock Cafe too. So during lunch, right? Oh yeah, the Sunway cafeteria I think is quite good. At least at my time, it's quite good. I remember there's like one nasi kandar place and one, what do you call that? Shit. Jujong fan place. Yeah. And then Jujong fan with curry, right? Or that tofu thing. I forgot about it. Yeah. But I think the Sunway cafeteria is quite. There's two cafeteria. One is like Uni cafeteria and another one is like Sunway cafeteria. So there's two. But I like the college one more. And there will be a lot of people. So you'll get used to that. Like just follow your classmates to have lunch. Like don't eat yourself, right? It's the bonding time, and I believe like if you are taking A-level, then your rest time will be very similar. So it's definitely possible to get into lunch with your friends. So I think the food over there is quite good, but Penang always better. And then yeah, lastly I'm going to talk about my conclusion. To conclude my experiences in Sunway, it's like I think first of all you need to have a very think about like what course do you want to choose, and yeah, whether do you want to get into A-level. I think if you are not that academically talented, or maybe you have some specific aims, like I think most of the people they are choosing A-level because that A-level is the golden medal in foundation, which means like if you have the A-level cert, you can basically go to anywhere in like any country there, and then they will accept you. But for sure, if you have that status, a class above, right? Like even in ads, some group will advertise it as A-level as a class above others, right? With the status a class above, you need to work a class above from each other too. So if you have a motive, like you know where do you want to study, if you know that you're going to Australia no matter what, then just take OSMED or maybe Monash Foundations. Like you don't need to waste your efforts and times on A-level. It's just like if you're aiming from like very high institutions, for example Oxford, Cambridge, then A-level of course is more important. And then yeah, it's basically like that. So if you're prepared to work hard, and then you can choose A-level. But I mean, if you want to have a more easier option, and I mean it's not wrong to choose easier option. I always believe that only spend efforts and time at the right place. Like it makes no sense if working like 60% of your abilities you can get the results that you want, then why the fuck do you want to give like 100%? It's like it's not efficient at all, right? So yeah, and then besides that, it's like the mentality you need to prepare is like you need to accept a lot of different cultures. Like I remember from the first day, right, it's like fucking everyone wearing like we are going to a fashion show. So is it good? I mean it is good at some point, because like you have, I mean appearance is, I mean a lot of people will say like appearance is not important, but I think that appearance is like you don't need to be like fucking fashion show or some shit like that, but at least you need to be clean and tidy. I mean, it's not tidy, it's like, yeah, well, you just know, don't like try too hard. But I think it changed me at some point for like getting noticed about my appearance and something like that. And yeah, you just need to be acceptance, like your acceptance towards other culture will be like wider, and go to try more things. And besides that, don't push yourself too hard. It's like, I mean, like I said, study is very important, but then yeah, we have a lot of good cafes, just go try it, and it's about experience. So yeah, and then lastly it's like studying in some ways like maybe it will be one of the best experience you have in your life. So I have a lot of friends, they say that the teaching resources of summer is even better than a lot of overseas students. I have friends in UK, in US, they'll say that it's better. So I think, yeah, okay, that's all for my video. And I'm not a productive YouTuber, and I don't even do YouTube for like fame shit or stuff. It's just that because I have thought of that, like I really needed help when I was a freshie. So now I have the experience, so maybe I can give a little bit insights about what can you expect in Sunway University and some shit like that. And yeah, it's just this video is made for myself 6 years ago. Yeah, so I hope you guys learned something about it and you'll enjoy this video, and just leave some comments if you have any questions. And yeah, see you next time, and goodbye.